Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today announced stricter travel restrictions in response to new COVID-19 variants that may be more contagious. Travelers will be required to quarantine in a hotel at their own expense upon arriving in Canada. Also, airline service to Mexico and Caribbean destinations is suspended until April 30th. Trudeau said in addition to the pre-boarding COVID-19 test that's already required in Canada, the government will introduce PCR testing at the airport for those returning to Canada. The restrictions are expected to take effect in the coming weeks.
And joining us now to talk more about Canada's restrictions is travel journalist Peter Greenberg. Peter, good to talk to you tonight. So Joe just went through some of these restrictions. If people violate what has been put forth by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, it could be pretty pricey for them in terms of costing them hotel stays, et cetera.
Well, they're keeping an average of about $2,000 per stay if you follow that rule. But the real key here is the loss of revenue in those countries. All of Mexico, all of the Caribbean, that's effective this Sunday. So we're talking about a 3-month suspension of all airline service at a time that would normally be the highest tourist season of the year, right? The winter months when all the snowbirds head south. Now, there's another story here as well. Canada's borders are still closed to Americans, and there's a decision date of February 21st, that's coming up in about 3 weeks, as to whether or not they're going to open those borders. That also applies to the ports of Canada. And if they don't open those ports on February 21st, that essentially ends the Alaska summer cruise season for the cruise lines, and that would mark that the second year in a row that's been shut out.
So what are you hearing? Do you think that they will extend that?
I'm hearing that they're not. I'm hearing that if they're going to close the borders between Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean all the way through April 30th, there's nothing that would logically allow them to open the borders or the ports on February 21st.
You're talking about a lot of snowbirds who want to get to warm places, not just in Canada, but the U.S. Do you expect the U.S. will make any similar judgments on the Caribbean, Mexico?
Well, remember, it was announced earlier this week that President Biden was talking with both Prime Minister Trudeau and the Mexican president about the border situation, not about immigration, but about the public health issue. And they are now considering perhaps a similar measure on U.S. flights to both Mexico and the Caribbean. If that happens, those economies down there could easily just dry right up.
Oh, this is their hot season for sure. Peter, can you talk a little bit about restrictions we're seeing for international travel that continue under the Biden administration, specific regions like the UK and South Africa?
Sure. The original restrictions were lifted in the last days of the Trump administration to both the United Kingdom and Brazil. The Biden administration has reversed that because of the new strains, and they've added South Africa to that list. So that's effective immediately. None of those people can come to the United States during that period of time. For those Americans who are returning home, or anybody else from those other countries that are allowed to return to the United States, they're subject to that COVID-19 negative test that they're going to have to perform and show proof of within 72 hours of their departure time to this country. That'll be checked by the airlines, and any airline that flies someone who doesn't have that test will be severely fined and forced to bring the people right back. It's like a visa violation. You have to be able to show the proper documentation.
Peter, real quickly before I let you go, I know a lot of people at home, especially here in the Midwest where it's very cold right now, are thinking about spring break travel, and with the vaccine continuing to roll out, they may be looking to take some trips coming in the next few months. What should they expect if they do plan to fly?
Well, one of the other considerations on the table for the Biden administration is invoking that same COVID-19 negative test rule for U.S. domestic flights within this country. That means you have to do it within 3 days before you fly. A lot of spontaneous travel would be ended just based on that decision. They haven't implemented that, but they are considering it.
Know before you go. Peter Greenberg, always good to talk to you. Thank you.
You got it.